Ghost Stories, Volume 3. Well, welcome back. Let me tell you another ghost story. It's been a long time since I decided to try and put out a video about ghost stories. This one's going to be Volume 3. This ghost story takes place to the very first house that I lived in when I moved out of my parents' house. It was located in Belleville, Illinois. And as a teenager, 17-year-old teenager, I was happy. I planned this for months in advance to move out, to be on my own. As soon as I turned 17, the legal age in Illinois at that time for a teenager to move out. It just so happened that I found a place. All I had to do was pay a percentage of the rent, and I lived with two other adults in that house, and we just had to share the bills. It was split down 3 ways, so it was an amazing find. I counted myself lucky. I searched and searched for apartments that would want to rent to a teenager, which was non-existent, especially for that age. But this was great. I was able to have my own room. When I moved in, I actually had the upstairs loft, which was a very big size for just a single 17-year-old male. Yes, I lived in a house with two other adult females at the time, and one of their teenage daughters as well. But that's not about the story. The story is about ghosts. So like I said earlier, I counted myself lucky moving out, finding that place. It all fit within my budget between food and gas and rent and everything I could think of that I need to purchase and pay for. So everything was taken care of. I moved into that house. Everything was wonderful. I had my own room, my own freedom, come and go as I pleased, whenever I wanted. I was free. Almost as free as a ghost. It was only a couple months that I was there that I started realizing that things weren't right in that house. I would hear noises late at night because I would stay up late at night to do my schoolwork, to do my studying for the next day's classes. I'll be up late at night in my room, and I hear noises downstairs. And I wouldn't pay it any attention, any mind. I thought it was maybe one of the 3 ladies that lived in that house. It was probably them, or one of their boyfriends might have came over, had a few drinks or whatever. So I didn't pay it any mind. Well, let me tell you, I should have paid more attention to this ghost. There was a night that I got home, I cooked some dinner, and I was studying. And before I know it, it was about 11:30, 12 o'clock at night. So I was studying, I had to finish my food, and I was just sitting there studying. I was studying my Shakespeare at that time. And I really had to focus and concentrate. So everyone else in the house was already asleep. And I started hearing noises, like creaking noises. Sounded like cabinets moving, but I was in the kitchen. So I knew there was no cabinets moving. Could have been a cabinet in the bathroom, maybe. I don't know. I didn't go and check it. But I'm sitting there at the table, both sides of me, my left, my right. It was pitch black. The only light on was that light that was in the kitchen above the table that I was sitting at studying. And I kept hearing these creaking noises. And it was really freaking me out. So I was sitting at that table just by myself, pitch black, on the left of me, on the right of me. And then I started hearing footsteps. Those footsteps just seemed to keep getting louder and echoing. And I couldn't understand. There's nobody in that kitchen with me. There was a small little hallway leading to the bathroom and first downstairs bedroom. And I'm going to tell you more about that bedroom later on in this video. So I'm sitting there studying at that kitchen table, just looking at that pitch blackness, trying to get my eyes to adjust, to see if I see something abnormal out of the blue. Just remember, like I stated previously, for some odd reason, I'm in tune with ghosts and spirits and things from the other side. Is it a blessing? Is it a curse? I don't know. But they seem to always manifest themselves. I see them, I hear them, I see shadowy figures, day and night sometimes. But, I just sat there, staring at pitch blackness, trying to see and hear anything. There was a shadowy figure standing in front of that first room on that first floor. The door was closed. The shadow was standing right in front of me. As I said previously, I just talk to them. I just tell them, hey, I'm not bothering you. You don't bother me. And it just stood there and watched me. So I quickly got my dishes, my plates, my dishes, my glass, put it in the sink, closed my book, went upstairs, went to sleep. Later on, I sat and talked to my roommates about what I saw. They then verified and told me after the fact that after I moved in and started paying bills, that they said that house was haunted. I'm like, well, great. I wish I would have known this beforehand. I probably would have tried to find a different place to stay. But hey, this place was awesome for a 17-year-old teenager living on their own for the first time. So they told me about the story of that house, that apparently a tree that was outside of the house, this was a massive tree. It's like when you pulled into the driveway area, that tree was right there. The house was on the right, and then there was another house directly behind that tree. And they said that the owner's wife of that house hung herself from that tree, committed suicide, and hung himself from that tree. So they felt that house was haunted from one of the owner's wife that was still roaming the house throughout the night. I was like, okay, great. So like I said, my room was up on the top floor, the loft of that house. I can't remember what exactly happened, but I moved from the loft into the first bedroom on the first floor. Actually, it was the only bedroom on the first floor, because in the second level was the second bedroom, and on the top loft area was where I stayed at. Let me tell you, that was a mistake. I should have stayed in that loft. So, the other lady that lived in that house was constantly complaining that that room that she stayed in was always cold, no matter what time of the year it was. It would be summer, it would be freezing cold. It would be winter, it would be even colder. And I told her, I said, I'm used to cold. My parents had my room in the basement, and it was cold down there, and it was always dark. So, I was used to it. So, being the gentleman that I was, and still am, I had moved into that room. Now, everything was great in that room. But yes, it was freezing. It was always freezing. It would be 98, 95 degrees outside, but that room would be cold. Morning, noon, and night. Very eerie. Now, there was a night that my girlfriend came over and we were in my bedroom and we heard this noise and it sounded like tree branches scratching on the window. We're looking around, couldn't see nothing. Very, very strange. So, once again, I was up late, studying. And I looked over in front of my doorway to that room on that first floor. And once again, I saw that figure. It wasn't black. It manifested itself and appeared to me. It was of a older woman, I would say mid-40s, early 50s. Long, blondish to grayish hair with like, I don't know, streaks. I don't know what you would call it. Sandy blonde with gray. I saw her and she was wearing a gown. Looked like a bridesmaid wedding gown. I don't know, a Sunday dress. A white Sunday dress. It was very creepy. So I talked to her and I said, I mean it no harm. I come in peace. Leave me alone and I'll leave you alone. But I'll tell you, sitting there at that table trying to study was not happening. As many times I tried, I could not study there at night. That ghost never bothered me. It just wanted to stand there and stare at me. And that was the creepy part. I might understand it if it wanted to move around the house and knock things over or try to communicate, but it just stood there and just stared at me. And I think that was what was freaking me out the most, was that ghost didn't communicate. So I figured that the reason why my bedroom, that room, that one room in the whole entire house was always cold was not because there was a tree covering that window, because it wasn't. So I don't know what that scratching noise was that me and my girlfriend heard that one night, because there was no trees over there. The only tree was like in front of the house right when we pulled into the driveway. But that room was ridiculously cold. It gave me chills, even if I was under a blanket. Whether it's the summer, I was always under a blanket. It was that cold. I thought that it was going to get so cold one day I might be able to see my breath in there. I didn't stay too long in that house. A couple months later, I moved out. That house was haunted. I don't know what else to say. Between a cold room, a ghost manifesting itself, and that story of one of the owner's wives hanging herself from that very tree that I had to see each and every time I pulled into the driveway, it was enough. I moved out of that house, moved back into my parents' house, and very shortly after, I joined the Army. So, I say, you find a house or a place to stay, ask about its backstory, its history, because you never know. I've been lucky all my life that these spirits and ghosts or entities have always been non-confrontational, I guess you would say. They really don't mean me any harm so far, which is a good thing. Because if I ever came across a ghost that did things intentionally to harm me or someone else around me, that will be a problem. So, Ghost Stories, Volume 3. Be careful where you live.